G'day folks, this is Sim. Welcome back to Minecraft Done from Down Under. Well, quite a bit has happened since the episode in the Nether where we broke through onto the ceiling. And when I say quite a bit has happened, I'm referring to Minecraft in general. They've started releasing the patches, or the snapshots more specifically, and it looks very much the way they're going that they have got a lot of changes planned. We've got changes to enchanting, we've got changes to villager breeding, we've got changes to the way certain farms are working, what items are dropping from creatures. It looks like dispensers are going to be used to place blocks of certain sorts. There's villagers who are actually going to be harvesting wheat. There is so much going on in Minecraft for 1.8 that it's kind of scary. However, one of the things that I have planned for this particular world and this LP is the use of villagers. I really like villagers. I love them in the game. I think they offer so many different things. I like the actual villagers themselves. I like some of the things that you can do with them. I like trading with them, and I like creating setups that allow me to get a whole bunch of stuff from villagers. But it is going to be a lot harder from the looks of things to trade villagers. Indications are that they are going to have to be in the mood, and to get them in the mood you've got to trade with them, and the more you trade with them the less the chances of them being in the mood are. So it's a little bit like marriage in that way. The more you get, the less you get. But anyway, what that means is that I'm currently still in 1.7.4. I'm not really confident with going to the snapshots yet, so I'm going to stay there for a little while, and I'm going to take advantage of that fact and actually get myself a good supply of villagers before I look at updating. And that's what we're going to be attempting to do in this episode. So firstly, I have done a lot of mining in preparation. I've also done a bit of work over in the desert, clearing out, getting some sand and so forth. So we're going to need some supplies, and the first thing we're going to need to do is make a bunch of rails up. So let's get ourselves some sticks and a bunch of iron, and let's get some rails going. This should be an absolute ton, but hey, I'm sure we're going to find a use for them. I do plan to have a fairly large rail network as time goes by. I want to link up the villages, bases, all sorts of different things, so we'll see how we go. Now, the way I plan to breed the villagers is I'm going to create a fairly basic villager breeder. I've done this sort of thing before, although it's been a little while, so hopefully there won't be too many derps in the construction, but we need to get over and actually get started, and that means we need a location, and we want that location to be fairly close to the village that we've already protected, but far enough away that it's not going to interfere. One of the mistakes I've made in the past with breeding villages is actually trying to create a breeder within the bounds of an actual village itself, and when you're looking at breeding large numbers, that doesn't work really well. So we need to get far enough away from the village that it doesn't actually confuse the breeder with the actual, oh, that's going to be a bit of a drop, with the rest of the village itself. And okay, get out of there. I'm on a real roll. Good thing this guy's a tough guy. So let's head over this way anyway and see what we can do. We want to go up there? No, we want to head up here. wish horses worked like this in single player. Hey, in multiplayer I should say, but no, they're terribly slow. That there is just a little defensive fortification. I wanted somewhere, you can see I've been a little busy over here, yeah, this whole area over here I've been flattening out to gather sand, and this is the village here, so it's not really that far away when you're on a horse. I've had some pumpkins. Gonna have a great day with words, I think. Had some cactuses growing to build up a supply. We've still got the village down here. It seems to be doing okay. The reason the little fort's all the way over there is so that it's not actually in spawn range of the village, so we haven't had to worry too much about them having to deal with zombies, even though we've got a couple of golems in there now. This particular village I do actually want to expand, because we've got this whole lake area over here, and I would actually like to try and get this village to expand around the lake more. I also have plans for another village right over behind that plateau over there, that I'm going to create from the ground up, and it's something that I've been thinking about since the very beginning. So what we need to do now though is we need to create ourselves a villager spawner, and to do that we will head back over this way. I love the way the mountains come into view through the fog now, particularly at this sort of view distance. It just looks brilliant. I've been through here a few times now, and I keep thinking that I really need to build something in there, because geez, that looks good. But anyway, we're going to move some villagers out of that village and we'll use them as the base. I was also thinking about just capturing some and converting them, but I don't think it's going to be too hard to move them. And I think somewhere over here is probably going to be a fairly decent location. It's nice and open over here, so I think that area up there is where I was hunting Enderman. It had a nice open view, but I think probably somewhere around here should do. So what are we gonna need to do? Gonna need to put this guy down somewhere safe first, so let's jump off and we'll just dig him a little hole, because I didn't actually bring a fence to actually tie him to, so let's just pop him in here. Hopefully he will be okay, and we'll go from there. So give me a moment, I'm just going to clear this top off here just so that we've got a little bit of space to work with. Let's just throw this chest down, because we're probably going to need it soon anyway, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so we've got a little bit of space clear. Now the design that I'm using is a fairly basic one. It doesn't involve lots of redstone and pistons and other things. It's made by Unarybit, and I will certainly be putting a link in the description to his video on how to make this. I will certainly give an explanation as I go along, but his video is much better, and it has an absolutely rockin' track accompanying it, so I'd recommend you check it out if you're interested in villager breeders. Although, to be honest, with the 1.8 changes, it may not really be relevant when that time comes. But what we're going to need is, better grab some building blocks. We're going to need a reasonable supply of building blocks. We're going to need some glass, we're going to need some signs, and we're going to need some slabs. I think I'll just make those up out of straight stone. That should be enough. We'll see how we go. We can always make more. It's not going to be that big a deal. So we start this off with a platform which is 3 blocks wide and 7 blocks long. Okay. I probably could have built this down into the ground, but habit. Now what we want to do is we want to put into this, we want to, to be careful, I've got my fast pick here. We want to make a room which is 5 wide and 5 high. Oh, and not with that stone we don't. Never really understood why sandstone has that wavy texture to it, which is why I'm using the smooth. Most sandstone that you see is actually fairly smooth in texture, but let's not worry about that now. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have to come up one higher, preferably without falling down. And we're going to need a roof on here. Probably going to need to put an access route in. I'll do that soon. In the meantime, let's just jump down. Yep, that's one way of doing it. Okay, so we should have 5 by 5 now. We need a holding area in the center to hold the villages, and we're going to have 2 areas for collection on either side. So let's get our signs, and we're going to need to put down a water source. In fact, let's do that now so that we don't have to worry about it. That one there, and should have another bucket over here. Yep. Actually, you can go in there now. And yep. Okay, so we're going to need a sign there and there. And we're going to need glass in the rest of the area. So let's do that now. Oops. Good thing I've got a silk touch pick. And I think we will leave that gap, because we've still got to bring villagers in. So touch, and okay, now that's the breeding chamber, and we're going to need to get some water in place. Now this can be a little bit tricky, so let's see if I can get this right. So it's been a little while since I've done this. I might pop out and just check just to see how we're going. Take out those ones there for now. We'll put them back later. Now I can take the villagers out a couple of ways. I'm probably going to take them out the side here. So we're going to need, for the time being, we're probably going to need, like it or not, access in and out. I probably should have kept that other bucket, because breaking everything, making a mess. this is where it can get a little bit tricky. Let's just make this come back a bit further so that we can get up there. Now I've got to remember how to do this. I need to run it this way. I need to make sure that it doesn't actually spill out once we get to the side. So let's just do a quick double check. Yep, definitely some major derpage. So there's a couple of things that I'd completely forgotten. Firstly, I need to get some chests in here, and the reason for the chests is because we need to have a height where the baby villagers don't actually poke up into the water until we need them to. Also had my signs too high, which wasn't going to allow the thing to work at all. So I'll fix this up. And too much water here. Let's throw that one back in there. Let's grab that and take this out. Throw another chest down there. You can use several different things, and it's covered in the video as to what you can and can't get away with. And let me guess, I've trapped myself now because of this. Yeah, alright, that's okay. We'll just pop that out for a moment. And right, so let's pop that. Us. Okay. So yeah. Alright, so now getting the water flow right. We need to start up here. We actually need this particular one in here sealed off for the time being. We're going to need water here and water here. And refill these buckets. Then we're going to need to put a block out here. So right, you in there, you there. Take this one out. We want one right down the bottom. Come on. And one more bucket. No. And you want to be right there. And then it should just be a case of pop that one out. Thank you. And okay, we're good. Now I don't know why that didn't work right the first time. The only thing I can think is that I wasn't quite getting that last bucket on target, because that's what we want. So now what we have is a situation where the villagers will breed, the little ones will get popped out the sides, and they will stand on these chests just under this water flow until they grow up. When they grow up, they'll go up here and here and across, and they will pop out here, and we can then guide them wherever we want them. And for the time being, what we will probably do is just run a line out this way, and we will make a holding chamber for them soon enough. Now that shouldn't cause an update. No, good. Okay, so now we need to get some breeding stock in here, but before we do that we need to create the chamber. So to create the chamber we've got to go down here. And let's get some glass on the top because we're going to need that. We need transparent block above the doorway. And I probably need to eat something fairly quickly, or we could have a bit of a bother. so we need to come down from here. 1, 2. We want a 5 block air gap below there. So I do love good picks and sandstone. It's terrible when you're working, but the rest of the time it's just so much fun. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we need to come down one more. We'll take the stone out at the same time. Make it all nice smooth sandstone. And we'll go from there. Right, so sandstone. Okay, so you come out. So we're also going to need some doors. Going to need some doors, and we're going to need an access route out of here for the time being as well. So let's just punch through here, shall we? Create a bit of an avalanche. So let's get that, and how much glass do we want to come out here? That should be enough. I'll throw this sand back down here. Now we need to get our villager in here, and we're going to need some doors, and we need to line this up too with the hole. So we're going to be looking at, that's the dead center right about there. So we're coming from that torch, we're coming across 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks across from that torch there. Getting dark again, better grab a kip before we get company. Right. So we're almost there. We'll probably have to go and get the villagers in the next episode, because I am going to be trying really hard to keep these episodes close to the time. It's going to make it a lot easier for me to record if I keep the episode short. So we're going to need the doors in here, so that's going to be a line of doors there, and then we're going to need a gap. So we need somewhere to keep this fellow, and that should be right in there. And obviously 1, 2, we don't want him getting out, so we're going to need to put a lid on for him. So this is where our villager is going to sit, and he's the one that's going to trigger the breeding of the villagers up above. So we're going to have to run a rail line down into here and a rail line upstairs, and that hopefully is that. Now, as I said, it's been a while since I've used this one, and it's also possible the game mechanics may have changed a little, and I may have to do a little bit of tweaking, but we'll see how we go. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to run a rail line all the way back to that village over there, and when I come back in the next episode, we will bring some villagers over here and we will see how this works. So until then, take care everybody, look after yourselves, and ciao for now.